When it comes to choosing a school, parents who want the best education for their students look for academic excellence, skilled teachers, a safe school that encourages their values. Students want a school with competitive athletics, unique opportunities, and friendships that last a lifetime. Fairfield Christian Academy, the place where parents and students agree. Enrolling now at fairfieldchristianacademy.com.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phalen, a weekly program here on LSN. We're also carried by a number of the radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. This program is actually produced at Fairfield Christian Academy. Appreciate the students working the cameras and doing a lot of different things behind the scenes. Our executive producer, Kelly Roberts. Today's special guest, Lieutenant Alex Lape, our Patrol Commander. Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
You're kind of a regular guest.
Yeah.
And last time you were here, we were talking about the year-end review and things coming up for 2016.
That's correct, yes.
So what's been going on in the Patrol Division?
Well, a few things kind of exciting. We recently started using a new report management system. So the CAD system in the radio room has changed over to this new system, and our deputies are taking accident reports utilizing the new system. They're taking crash reports utilizing the new system. There's been a few challenges with that. Continually working a few of the bugs out of the system, and in the long run, it's going to be a better system for our deputies to use. It's going to be better for the community and the public in general also.
And I think a lot of our viewers and listeners may be surprised that really there's not, the paper stuff's almost gone now, right?
Yeah.
Everything's kind of through our computer.
Yeah, and I've spoken to a couple people here recently that questioned whether or not there was even a report taken. The deputy came out and got their information on a notepad and then left, and they were concerned that there wasn't a report generated, and I explained to them that most of this stuff nowadays is done on a computer in the car or at the station, and the old report forms themselves are kind of a thing of the past, that we don't carry those around to the scene of the call anymore. So.
Yeah, in fact, I saw a program, I think the Highway Patrol uses this, where even their tickets now, they just type it in, and it prints out a copy for the violator.
You can take the license and swipe it through a reader, and it'll load all the information, not only onto a ticket, but onto a report. You can do that as well. And the changes in the technology with regard to that are kind of amazing to me. They from 2005 to today, it's just kind of mind-boggling, the advances that it's all made.
It seemed to me that, when I started in law enforcement, up until the time I became sheriff, things were kind of done the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, over like a 25, 30-year span, the way we took reports, the way we handled calls, those kind of things. But really, in the last 10 or 15 years, things have really started to change dramatically for law enforcement, what we've seen.
They have, even filing charges with the prosecutor. In the past, we had to put together a packet of information with a lot of different report forms included in that, and it was probably a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch thick by the time that it was all done and sent to the prosecutor. And now it's all done on a web-based program called Matrix. That's what we use in this county, and the deputy completes their incident report and then puts all that information into the Matrix thing, and it gets kind of emailed to the prosecutor's office, and they look at it and go forward with the criminal case now. So it's even kind of reached over into that other aspect of law enforcement as well.
Yeah, lots of things going on. What else?
Still looking at and researching different body cameras, trying to get the best deal for what we need to do, and it's not an inexpensive endeavor. I look forward to maybe the state putting down some or bringing down some mandates on how that's going to be done. So we're preparing for that as well. I don't want to kind of jump ahead of what they say that we need to do if they do make that a mandate.
And I wonder what percentage in the offices and departments across the United States now are to the body cameras.
I don't have that information. That is a good thing. Maybe I'll have to do some research on that, see if I can figure that out.
Yeah, but I was surprised, and I know the city of Lancaster does. I don't think they have that in Columbus, but I think they have money set aside for that. But the thing that kind of surprised me when we were looking at this a year or so ago was most of the deputies they liked it. They were in favor of it.
Right. They want them at this point. Just, I think, if nothing else, to vindicate the very, very small percentage, to vindicate them in the event, the very, very small percentage of people that we do have complaints from. It will show exactly what transpired, and I think for them that's a key piece.
Yeah, and I know that we've talked about this before, and you help me. The interactions between law enforcement and citizens. Is it 30 million or?
There's 40 million a year.
40 million a year. There's
right.
interactions between citizens and police officers, and 99% of them plus are handled appropriately. But what we've seen, at least in about the last 18 months to 2 years, is a lot of negative stories about police officers because they'll take these isolated incidents and play them over and over again. So I think it really, at least to the public, gives a skewed vision, and I, I've done this, been in this a long time. I know you have, and I have never fired my gun at a person.
No.
Most police officers don't. I've never seen anyone that has been mistreated by officers or
right.
beat up or shot down in the streets or anything.
Right.
So I think what you see on television and the news, although no one would condone an officer that acts inappropriately, and that does happen sometimes, but the reality is that is a very, very small percentage of incidents between the citizens and law enforcement officers.
Right. That's what the statistics show too. So it's kind of hard to argue the facts, and those are the facts. And in this county, our deputies, the men and women of the sheriff's office, are professionals, and they treat people for the majority of the contacts that they have in a positive way. I think that the people in this county are very lucky that we have the people that work at the sheriff's office that are here.
And one of the things we do is whenever an office or a deputy goes out for a call for service, they give them a community feedback
right.
form. And every week I get a number of those back. And I would say that 90% plus are very nice and positive.
It's a very high percentage of those that we get back that do have positive comments. We've even received from people that have been incarcerated in our jail that have turned those in, that have had positive comments on how they were treated while they were in our jail. So, I think it says a lot for the people that work at the sheriff's office, the high number of positive comments that we get back. And
I got a letter, I believe it was last week, and one of the things that the sheriff's office is mandated to do is when we have sex offenders in the county, they are mandated to come in periodically, sometimes yearly, sometimes quarterly, to report in to Deputy Skeen. And I'd received a letter from an offender, and he said it's been tough. And he's gotten out of jail, and he was involved in a sexual, some illegal sexual activity. But he mentioned that how Skeen had always kind of been positive with him and helped him and didn't demean him or anything like that. So I think we do a really good job. Another time I got a picture of a person who had been sent to the prison, and he sent back a picture that he had drawn of Christ. And he said, again, he knows he messed up, but he appreciated the way that he was treated from the arrest to the incarceration till the time he went to jail by the men and women of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
They're truly professional. That's the bottom line.
Saw on the news not too long ago a rookie police officer, her first day working, and she was tragically shot along with two other officers in the line of duty.
Yeah, that's tough stuff there.
So I know you're involved, or have been involved with a lot of the training, a lot of the things to kind of help minimize the dangers on these. Why don't you share a little bit about that?
We recently provided active shooter type, violent intruder type training for the majority of the Fairfield County employees at the JFS, at the courthouses. So there were approximately 960 employees that went through this training, and it was an awareness type training for them to help in the instance something like this. God forbid would ever happen in one of our county buildings, that they would be able to mitigate that to lessen the amount of casualties, to know how to appropriately react in that if that event should ever occur, and the actions to take that they need to do to keep themselves safe. It's a successful program. We continue to do that throughout the community and in the schools, and we're proactive in regard to providing this training and making sure that we can do what we need to do to keep our people safe in the community here.
And I know we've talked about this before, you've done training on it, but what I think I'd like to do, maybe on our next program, you'll be with us next week, is maybe do a portion of the program about what people need to do, how they need to react to an active shooter.
Yeah.
And so for our viewers and listeners, make sure that you tune in next week, because I think although you've done a lot of training and some really good training to the churches, to the employees of Fairfield County, but I think it's a good time as a reminder, because it seems like every month or a couple months you hear of some kind of shooting somewhere.
Right. Right now we average in this country about 2 per month throughout, at least in 2015. That's the way that the numbers fell. Prior to that, to 2015, it was about 6 in a year. So it's really exponentially jumped up in frequency. So,
do you think that's a copycat effect, or do you think, and most of these people are mentally ill, and it doesn't sound like there's many times a lot of things that could be done?
Well, I think there's a lot of different facets to this issue. Some of it may ultimately be found out, like the recent event that occurred in Columbus with the man with the machete and the knife. My personal opinion on that is it could have been terrorism. That's always a potential. The San Bernardino shooting that occurred recently, in my opinion, that was terrorism also. So in the past, it's always been something that more of a workplace, school type issue, where now it's kind of proliferating out into the general community, into the malls, to the stores, It's something where there's an awareness aspect to it, where people need to know that the potential for this kind of violence is out there and what they need to do to protect themselves and their families.
And I think we're going to be doing some more of that training probably this year.
Yes.
We're just about out of time. Lieutenant Alex Lape, the commander of the Patrol Division, joining us. Make sure you tune in. I think next week will be an important program, especially if you're out there and you haven't heard about how to react to an active shooter. I think the lieutenant's going to be able to share some really good stuff with you. Well, we're just about out of time. I appreciate the students here at the Fairfield Christian Academy that put this program together. If it was not for them, we wouldn't have a program, because they're nice enough to let us use the facility and tape these programs. Our executive producer, Kelly Roberts, behind the scenes, lines the guests up a lot of the questions. I do appreciate her work behind the scenes. As always, I do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week, and all the nice comments we get about this program. Until next week, same time, same place, God bless. If you're driving, buckle up, and we'll see you right here next week.
These waters were woven into the culture of Native American tribes. The descendants of the early Europeans built a business here based on agriculture. And today, this unique destination in the central Ohio countryside comes to life with stories and memories centuries old. The Fairfield County Historical Parks invites you to amazing Rock Mill. Above the falls of the Hocking River Gorge, here together, nature and man have created some truly American stories that you'll want to experience with the entire family. Visit us or learn more about Rock Mill and the largest wooden water wheel in the nation at historicalparks.org.